every decade that goes by, there's sort of more important discoveries per unit time.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we will be comparing two of the most brilliant minds of the modern era, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, as they race to becoming the world's first trillionaire. One of Bezos' motivating factors is having found inherent meaning in life.
If you take a really long run view, many decades, maybe even a couple hundred years,
he has found a calling and will pit his survival on it. He thinks others should consider something they are passionate about. In terms of business, we should be comfortable with taking risks, because failure is guaranteed no matter what we try to do. Musk argues that affecting humanity in some way, big or small, provides well enough meaning to life.
They think that technology just automatically improves. It does not automatically improve.
He would agree though that being inspired by our own work is meaningful too. Musk wonders where humanity would find meaning if we all received universal basic income. Much of his fortune is thanks to how forward-thinking he has become.
Some degree wrong, and your goal is to be less wrong over time.
You don't choose your passions choose you. And all of us are gifted with certain passions, and the people who are lucky are the ones who get to follow those things. And I always advise our young employees, I meet with interns and so on, you can have, and my kids too, you can have a job, or you can have a career, or you can have a calling. And if you can somehow figure out how to have a calling, you have hit the jackpot, because that's the big deal. And most people don't ever get there. You're very lucky if you have a career. A lot of people end up with a job. Because you have to remember, a lot of the jobs today are quite routine. They are not necessarily anybody's, as I said before, career or calling. And so I predict that because of artificial intelligence and its ability to automate certain tasks that in the past were impossible to automate, that not only will we have a much wealthier civilization, but that the quality of work will go up very significantly, and that a higher fraction of people will have callings and careers relative to today. Once you are looking at the odds in a realistic way, it's very important for entrepreneurs to be realistic. And so if you believe on that first day while you're writing the business plan that there's a 70% chance that the whole thing will fail, and then that kind of relieves the pressure of self-doubt. I mean, it's sort of like, I don't have any doubt about whether we're going to fail. That's the likely outcome. And it just is. And to pretend that it's not will lead you to do strange and unnatural things. So and what you do with those early investment dollars, so if you have $300,000 and then you have $1 million, what you do with those early precious capital resources is you go about systematically trying to eliminate risk. So you pick whatever you think the biggest problems are and you try to eliminate them one at a time. And that's how small companies get a little bit bigger and then a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger until finally at a certain stage you reach a transition where the company has more control over its future destiny.
If somebody is doing something that is useful to the rest of society, I think that's a good thing. Like, it doesn't have to change the world. Like, if you're doing something that has high value to people, and frankly, even if it's like just a little game, or some improvement in photo sharing or something, if it has a small amount of good for a large number of people, I think that's fine. Like, stuff doesn't need to be changed the world just to be good. But in terms of things that I think are most likely to affect the future of humanity, I think AI is probably the single biggest item in the near term that's likely to affect humanity. So it's very important that we have the advent of AI in a good way. That is something that if you could look into the crystal ball and see the future, you would like that outcome, because it is something that could go wrong, as we've talked about many times, and so we really need to make sure it goes right. I think I think we'll just end up doing a universal basic income. It's going to be necessary. The harder challenge, much harder challenge, is how do people then have meaning? Like, a lot of people, they derive their meaning from their employment. So if you're not needed, if there's not a need for your labor, what's the meaning? Do you have meaning? Do you feel useless? That's a much harder problem to deal with. And then how do we ensure that the future is going to be the future that we want, that we still like? No, I do think that there's a potential path here, which is, and we're really getting into science fiction or sort of advanced science stuff, but having some sort of merger with biological intelligence and machine intelligence. To some degree, we are already a cyborg. You think of like the digital tools that you have, your phone, your computer, the applications that you have. Like the fact that, as I was mentioning earlier, you can ask a question and instantly get an answer from Google or from other things.
Well, that's all for today. Who do you think will reach 1 trillion first? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and consider subscribing for more motivational videos.